Hey everybody, welcome back to That Makes Sense, the show about synthesizers, vinyl record music, electronic music, and 80s, 90s to now. I'm Bradley. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining me. It's been a little while since I've had a video on synths, and those seem to be really popular. So today I'm really excited. It just came out that Cherry Audio is releasing a soft synth version of the Ensoniq ESQ1. Tim Shoebridge, another amazing YouTuber on synthesizers, he did the video for Cherry Audio showing off the ESQ1. I have to say that of my synthesizers, I would say the ESQ1 is my favorite. Either the ESQ1 or the SQ80, they're basically the same synthesizer. So I mean, it's either way. It's funny because a lot of people a lot of synth people like this synthesizer. I forget the company that Synth that does repairing of synths, and they have a synth store in Texas. The owner, he did a YouTube video on like what his desert island synth would be, and it was an Ensoniq ESQ1. And I think that guy has played with basically every synthesizer in the world. So that guy would know. And there's something to these synths. And it's because they are hybrid synthesizers. So basically they're digital synthesizers but have analog filters. And I think that's part of why they sound so unique. I have some other analog or hybrid synthesizers, and these all came out like in the mid 80s. I think the ESQ1 came out in 85 and the SQ80 came out in 1987, if I remember right. But around the same time, you had other companies. So like Korg released the DW6000 and the DW8000, which I like those synths too. And then Kawai released the K3, and all those are hybrid synths. I think what was going on at the time, a few years prior, the Yamaha DX7 had come out, and it was just creating sounds that, the analog synths couldn't do. So, and that was a big synth. So some of these companies wanted to get into having a digital synthesizer, but kind of transitioning from analog to digital. So that's why I think you have these hybrid synthesizers that came out during that specific time period. The thing that, having owned like all three, like the Korg DW series as well as the Kawai K3 and the Ensoniqs, even though all three of those are hybrids, I think the Ensoniq one just really stands out, and there's just something unique about it. And when I hear it, I mean, if you close your eyes, it reminds me of like an 80s movie, So I'll play some sounds from it. The video I did on the Ensoniq SD1 a couple months ago, that was really popular, and thanks for the people that watched it. But I didn't know a lot of famous musicians that used it. Some people put in the comments about though. But with the ESQ1, I know John Carpenter, who the director, producer of movies like Halloween and Escape from New York, he used the Ensoniq synthesizers a lot, and I totally could hear that. I totally could see John Carpenter playing with it. So let me play some sounds from it, and I kind of have to play around with the volume because I'm realizing that some sounds are really loud and some sounds are kind of soft. So But here is, this one's called Synth. Almost kind of reminds me of it kind of reminds me that that sound I think from NXS. I can't remember the name from Kick, but anyways. So that's called Synth. Here is piano 1. Here's organ 1. Three drums. And all these are dry with no effects that I've put on. This one's called bell bass. SLD drum. Slost R. Mixed. This is very 80s. Definitely kind of has that Depeche Mode-ish sort of sound. Although I'm not aware of Depeche Mode using any Ensoniq synths, but I know some of the goth bands used them. Wave bell. Another very 80s sort of sound. And that you can get some really funky modulation with these synths too. This one's called 4X Fade. As you play on that, and it's just got this like the decay, but it comes up a little bit. All right, let's go. BLPNO, so piano. Clav for clavinet. Hev, BRS, so heavy brass. Sinbaz. Snaps 1. Brass R. So I think that stands for brass strings. Sax 1. Moods. High res. Echo 1. All right. So yeah, that gives you kind of an example of how it sounds. I think it sounds different from the Korg DWs and the Kawai K3. Definitely, I think it has its own sound. It has, I don't know, it's a thick sound for digital, you know? So, and I think as far as like the synth goes, it's the layout is really laid out well. So you've got basically your volume and then banks. So you've got 4 banks, or excuse me, 3 banks with 12 sounds in it, 12 patches. Excuse me, four banks. And then also you can sequence on this. And this is one of the first synths that came out. I don't know if it was the first, but definitely one of the first that had built-in sequencer on here. And I've never spent too much time trying to learn how to sequence on the ESQ1 or the SQ80. But from what I heard, people say that it's fairly easy to sequence on. And then also, one of the big differences between the SQ80 and the ESQ1 is the ESQ1 allows you to have cartridges, and as well as the SQ80, but the SQ80 had a floppy drive in it. So, you know, that was the cartridges have sounds on them, and then the floppy drive could be used to, you know, save your sequences. So, you know, at that time, and I think around 87, the floppy disk is how you would save everything. You know, that was the storage device. So over here you've got your data entry where you can make your adjustments to what you're working on. And then you've got your programmer, it says, but this is where you select your different patches. Then over to the right of programmer, you have your sequencer where you can record and start, stop, play, locate, select your tracks, mix and MIDI, edit, erase, and control. And then over to the right is your voices, and then this is where you can edit your sound. So you have 3 sets of oscillators, and then each of those go to 3 sets of DCA. So trying to think what that stands for. Controlled. No, I don't know. But then you've got your filter, and then DCA4, which goes out to the left, mono, and right. Then you've got underneath that section, you've got 3 different LFOs, and then 4 envelopes. So let's take, I'm gonna take kind of a regular sound organ, and I'm gonna go mess with oscillator 1, and you can see you've got different octaves, which you can adjust through the data entry knob here. Oh, let's see. So right now it's select to wave, and you basically you've got different sounds that you can combine onto. So here's bass piano. This one's called 4 octaves, or octave 5. This is pulse. So we'll take that, and then I can go at semi. I'm not trying to make the world's worst sound, but I wanted to show kind of the crazy things that you can make with this. So right here we've got mods. Okay, so you can select where you want to modulate it. So right now you could set it to pedal, so a foot pedal, and then wheel. Let's see if I can. And then let's see if I can adjust this. So you've got this slider where you can go up and down, but this will give you the up and down data arrows for data entry, going to get you more fine, precise setting. So I was just adjusting the mods on that. And that's just the one oscillator. So let's go to DCA. Okay, so that is for level. So I can adjust LFOs. So I think the DCA, you can adjust modulation and then level. So okay, now we'll go to the filter, and we can. It's got a setting so you can adjust resonance. just the LFO in here. It's not very musical, I know, but I just want to kind of show you kind of the weird things you can do on here. And I mean, you could get really spaced out on this, and I can see why John Carpenter would like a synth like this, to make just like weird kind of dark sounds, although it can sound really bright at the same time. And the one thing that both Arturia, their emulation of the SQ80, and then Cherry Audio's emulation of the ESQ1, both of those have arpeggiators built in, which neither the ESQ1 or the SQ80 have arpeggiators, and I love arpeggiators. I'm a big arpeggiator guy, so that would have been awesome to have. But I have, through MIDI connections, I've used other arpeggiators from other synthesizers and arpeggiated the ESQ1, and it sounds freaking awesome. So what's crazy about this synth, a little about how I found it. I got it at a music go-round for $149. And I know that because the price tag is still on here. What also is interesting is right here, we've got a sticker called Dave's Sound Repair. Whoop. Dave's Sound Repair. Looks like they're out of New Jersey. So I assume Dave's Sound Repair had worked on this synth at one time. Also, what's really, really cool, I'll have to show it to you, but off of eBay, you could buy a cartridge that has like 4 dongles on it. And like a standard like or 4 switches on it, not dongle, but a typical Ensoniq cartridge would have, I think, 4 banks of sounds. I think what 6, maybe about 40 or 50 sounds. This cartridge has hundreds of sounds on it. I think it has all the official Ensoniq cartridges. It's basically 4 or 8 cartridges built into one cartridge. And basically when you flip the switch, it will pull up another cartridge, and then you can load all the banks. So you've got, I don't know hundreds, but maybe hundreds, at least dozens and dozens of sounds, and I have not gone through all of them, but there's some freaking awesome sounds on it. And I mean, initially these sound synths didn't come with a ton of sounds, especially back then in the 80s. You're limited to memory size, but having a cartridge like this really takes it to put it on steroids. Now, I try to look for a cartridge like this that has the switches again. At one time, I couldn't find them on eBay, but I think I bought this from eBay, the cartridge. So I think somebody makes them, puts them together, and sells them. But anyways, the thing I think what goes really well together, the ESQ1 would be my Desert Island synth, but if I had another one, it would be the Novation Base Station 2, because pair those two synths together. This Base Station 2 is an analog mono synth, which is my favorite mono synth. It's got a really awesome arpeggiator on there and some really gnarly filters on there. So you know, doing leads and stuff like that on the ESQ1, and then playing the bass with the Bass Station 2, the two pair really, really well. Um, so the other thing to keep in mind is that ESQ1s still go fairly affordable. So if you want a affordable 80s synth, I know they're all getting up there in price, but I think you can probably get them around $400 or $500. So I highly suggest this one. I don't think it got a lot of love in the 80s, but people are finding out about it. I think it's great that Cherry Audio and Arturia have been making virtual versions of these, I think, great synthesizers. So I think that'll do it for right now. But thank you everybody for watching, and go make some synth sounds. See ya.